you two for cost-benefit analysis, and here's our Chapter 2 lab. So the first question, we got that for the cost to switch from the VHS to Betamax for both users and producers of video technology would vastly outweigh the benefits of using superior technology. So costs would be migrating over production technology to Betamax, consumers and producers buying new video recorders and video recording materials for consumers and producers, sunk costs of VHS inventory to producers, and the benefits would be slightly superior video recording, eclipsed by new technologies a few years later, though. And the willingness, so this next question, it's like your willingness to pay for an event you'd like to attend. So the most we'd be willing to pay for a ticket to the event would be $100. But if we won the ticket, the minimum amount of money we'd be willing to accept would be $1,000. And if our income was 50% higher, we didn't win the ticket, we'd be willing to pay $125 for the ticket. And we think that we do know people who would not like to attend the event, and they would have to pay them to go to the event. And the difference between the answers from 1 and 2 shows the difference between willingness to pay and willingness to accept. Number 3 shows the income effect. A certain increase in income will also increase willingness to pay. Number 4 shows that people have varying willingness to pay and willingnesses to accept.
So this question is analyzing the efficiency of the government's expenditures. The first one is referring to jurors, and the conclusion is the opportunity cost of jurors is greater than the actual benefit because the pay outweighs the benefit. So land to be used for nuclear waste storage that is owned by the government nets out to be the government would likely undermate the opportunity cost, despite other options being available. The value of the land is too great. And third is a restoration program in a small rural town. This would likely be a good option due to small towns having low employment options. This would be a good idea. Next slide. The next question. So this one is referring to labor of current government employees who are required to administer a new program. The conclusion is if the government is efficient, this would improve employees' wages, which is efficient. If the government is inefficient, it would be inefficient because the wages would outweigh the benefit. And then concrete that was already poured would be considered a sunk cost. If you pour concrete, it sets, the chemicals mix, and you can't do anything else with it. Next slide.
This next question asks us to compare CVAs for 3 different projects with and without roads, and then an absence of projects and just the road. As you can see with our comparison chart, many of them provided net benefits except for Project W with the road and the road alone. You can go to the next slide. So looking at that chart, if you were to select one of the projects with or without a road to choose, one should choose Project W without the road, since it gives you the highest net benefits, and even though it's tied with the highest net benefits with another project, it has a better benefit to cost ratio, making it more efficient.
So for the question about the U.S. Navy analysts, we said that The CBA wasn't wasted because it can still be used as part of a multi-goal analysis, which would be able to take into account the risks of economic efficiency, or sorry, the goals of economic efficiency, being vulnerable to attack, as well as the goals of minimizing impacts from geopolitical risk. Next. For the jewelry store question, we said that the social benefits here were the 900,000 that weren't stolen. And then the social cost here were the 500,000 that would be paid by the city for surveillance. We didn't include the 600,000 that would be gained by the thieves in revenue because that's considered benefit from crime, and that is not a benefit for society. So overall, the net here would be a benefit of 400,000. Next. For the final question, we calculated the net benefit to be negative $20 million for the U.S. And so the CBA would have to count at least 7.16% of the $280 million of avoided resistance costs in order to have at least a zero net benefit.